Well, okay, as promised, we are here at my buddy John Terman's house to see what decorations, if any, he has put up for Christmas. He had told me a few weeks back that he was going to be pretty conservative and not do much, but we shall see if he indeed decided to do a more sparse Christmas or if things are really all in their holiday glory. We shall see. I do love this wreath, and I love the wreath on the stucco of that chimney. So that definitely sets a tone. So what do you say, Stuart?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yoo-hoo! Hey! Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas to you. Welcome.
I'll probably see you again before Christmas, but just in
That'd
case.
be nice.
Yeah, but just
I like
in
being
case.
wished Merry Christmas lots of times.
Well, I know, but it doesn't feel very Christmassy.
What's with this weather?
I don't know. Now, it was cold this morning. I did a walkabout this morning, and it was
It was
cold.
cold. The north wind was really cold.
And it was cold this morning, but it's supposed to be 66
I know.
on Christmas.
I've still got things blooming outside. And
I know.
went out earlier today and just pulled up a few of the things that died, but there's still stuff growing that shouldn't be. So
Yeah, some
see.
of my older daffodils, they're starting to,
are they coming up already?
they're starting to poke their heads through. It kind of
Yeah,
makes
that's
me
nervous. That would
nervous.
be-
Okay.
yeah. All right. Well,
Well,
glad you're here.
let us not think of spring right now. Let us think of the holiday spirit, and nobody does it better than you.
Oh,
So give us a little tour, and I gave everyone a tease that yes, this year you told me you weren't going to do much
and I
Christmas.
wasn't. But circumstances changed.
Okay.
And then I went down that path. I was like, oh, I'll do a little bit. And I started doing the little bit. And it just went on until it's pretty much.
So you did a little bit, even though it sounds like you're getting over a cold. Are you?
I'm getting over a cold again, which is the second time that you've been here. And I've been getting over something. Remember in the spring it was that way.
Oh, yeah.
I think the seasonal stuff causes me issues.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
so I feel good but have a bad voice. So sorry about that.
well, it could also be because there's stuff in the air. Because
we haven't had anything to.
No.
Haven't killed anything yet, really.
No,
So.
no, we barely had a freeze.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
But
shall
come on in here,
shall
I
we
guess.
begin?
So, and really, as I said, I was gonna just do a little, and I thought, oh, I'll get some ornaments out and put in some bowls, and then I was gonna put my wreaths in the window. That was the main thing I always do. So that really does say Christmas to me. So I have a wreath for pretty much every window in the house.
Well,
So I got those out, and then after things kind of started happening, I thought, oh, I don't want to do that big Christmas tree, but wouldn't it be fun to buy a new one? So I downsized the tree, and found that one.
Wait, that's fake.
That's fake. Yep.
And you know what? I think this is a version of the same fake one I have because I recognize these pine cones. Was it unlit when you bought it?
It's unlit.
So is mine.
Right.
I think mine is the same one, though mine seems a little bit smaller, but it looks so real.
I thought it looked very, very right. And I really liked that it's like, I think they called it a 4-foot tree. And of course it had some stupid little base on it. So then of course I had to go to the garden center, find a nice
Of course you
clay
did.
pot and get it planted, as you would say.
Yeah. Well, and it looks great. So remind me, don't you have a specific philosophy on Christmas tree lights? About whether you should get a pre-lit tree?
Well, I've kind of developed one now. The pre-lit trees seem so cool and wonderful, and I've had at least 3, I guess. But as the lights start burning out on them, you either have to just wrap more lights on it, which gets a little complicated looking, or you have to get them off. And if you've ever tried to take those off, it's not fun. Finally, I learned just take the wire cutters and just cut every one, just peel them off.
Yeah.
But anyway, when I and most people who do them themselves light a tree with with Christmas lights, we do it much looser. And so if something does happen, I can get them off pretty easily.
Yeah.
And it's not it takes hours to get those things cut off. And I've done that before. And then gotten disgusted and thrown the whole thing away.
And then it
So
seems
it's just-
so
it
seems so
was
wasteful.
Wasteful and too much work and
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm kind of a fan, and I think I've decided I'm a fan of smaller trees. So I'm not sure if I was buying a big tree, if I would still do the lights that way. I mean, that's a lot
Yeah.
to do. But I think on these smaller ones, it's very manageable. This is only like 150 lights on this tree, so 3 strings, so it's easy to do.
Okay, I've got a question.
cool.
Okay, here's a question of the day for all of you out there and for you, John.
Okay.
So I had a friend that I used to work with for years. Her name was Georgia Bunton. She was from Georgia, and she had the best Georgian accent that ever could be. And she told me that never, ever in her life would she ever have a blinking light, especially one in colors, on her Christmas
Yes.
tree. And I asked her why.
And
She said, because all I could see is bar, Bar.
I agree.
Bar. I had never,
Totally
I
agree.
never would have thought that.
So especially the blinking part. The multicolored lights I think can be kind of fun, but the blinking does absolutely do that. And you know these newer ones, you can change all the colors and they go in circles and do all this stuff. And one of the small trees I looked at even had that, and it was several $100s.
Let me switch places with you,
And
Stuart.
I was just like, no, I would never ever ever use this, And no, I totally agree with her. And I do well on the big tree. I used to put the little lights, and then I always forget which size it is, that smaller of the
C7.
C7s, and I would mix those up with white and red, just a little something. But overall, I think the white lights make the ornaments show up better. Colored lights just become like more ornaments.
So the pine cones came with it.
Yeah, they're
That's
attached to it, so on mine too. Now this year, my back room, I'm
That's
not
so
doing, true confessions. I will reveal that I did do some decorating for Christmas, but I've got some construction going on. I've already taken down some of my Christmas because it was getting too dusty, and then they had to paint,
And it was in the way, I'm sure.
and it was in the way. Then the chaos of it all kind of makes me feel less than festive. Now, another question of the day. Another thing that I would like to have, if I ever really did a full-blown Christmas tree again, are those old-fashioned foil reflectors that you put around the lights
Yes, I used to have some of those.
that made them look fuzzy in pictures and things.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And I haven't seen those, and I Googled them the other day, and
Are
I
they
really,
not available?
no, it must probably just in an expensive antique stores
Yeah,
now.
they're vintage.
And they were all
pieces.
multicolored, and
Yeah.
I would have liked them all in
Well,
silver.
And of course, I started doing Christmas trees when I was young. So in our playhouse that we had a Christmas tree, and we had big lights on it, and it did have those reflectors. And of course, you have to unscrew the bulb, put that on,
Yeah.
screw it back. But I had those, and I had them forever, and then somewhere along the way.
But
they
they're
went away,
so
but
fun.
They are fun.
And I was
hadn't thought of
watching.
those in years. Yeah.
Well, I was watching that movie, The Christmas Story,
Mm-hmm.
and on that tree, there's a certain way they'd look, and I thought, oh, they've got reflectors on them, and that
That's
sent me down the path. Well, let's take a break right here, and we'll come back in a moment. Okay, so you have collections of these ornaments, some new, some look antique, some look like mercury glass.
Mhm.
But the most spectacular collection I think you have is underneath this cake dome. And you kind of have a dome fetish, I've noticed.
Yes, I do. I hadn't really realized that. So the base of that is, I think, meant for cheese. I think it's an English. I think that's an antique actually that I inherited. And then I don't know where the dome came from, but anyway, I think it's really meant for cheese or butter and stuff to be under. And if you'll remember when you've been here before, that's usually got seashells under it. And I've done other things under it, but the seashells are kind of the normal thing. And then I love mercury glass, as you find that throughout the whole house. And so these ornaments I've been collecting for a long time, 25 or 30 years. And some of them are actually old and a lot of them are new.
Well, and that's
But to me, that's where I started. I was just going to do little pops of things like that to say Christmas, and then not worry about the tree and all that kind of stuff. And
then it's an
we know where
addiction.
that went.
Christmas is
So,
an
but you see
addiction.
that just kind of dotted through the room. So all of these are mercury glass.
Well,
on these
this one
tables.
is special though, because that must be the North Pole still life
Yes.
under the dome
Maybe so. But see,
of
last
the
year,
Arctic Circle.
that Santa and that Christmas tree were in the kitchen with the treats. So I try to do something different with things every time. Last year, I think there were just ornaments under it. So
There's definitely different philosophies that people have. So, do you know Petty Tag? We
No.
just did. You need to watch that garden tour or that home Christmas
maybe I
home
don't know her
tour.
name. I did watch it.
Okay.
Karen Hines?
Yes.
Yes.
And she's got a beautiful home. But almost every year she does things very, very similar, almost formulaically. Like she likes to have traditionally her paper whites in a certain place each year, and then others like to kind of mix it up. And I think it's very telling about people's personalities. If they really want something to be the
Well, it's
same
comforting
and feel
sometimes.
security,
Right.
yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So I get
Or
that.
and it may not seem as nostalgic or as Christmassy to them
Right.
if things aren't replicated
Well,
from one year to the
And of
next.
course, I always think too, you invest a lot of money in this stuff, you really should use it. And you only use it for a short time each year.
Mhm.
So it's a shame for someone to do this and then think, okay, we're done, and go on to some other thing the next year.
No, I agree
So I like to
completely.
rework something somehow. And so mine always ends up being sort of traditional,
Yeah,
even though there are variations on it. But,
Right.
But it's just,
yeah.
I just don't see through. And of course, I have clients who either have a new house or new decor and they want a new Christmas tree. And so we'll do the whole thing. Now we'll see how long they go forward with that same tree.
Yeah.
But they are more thematic and that sort of thing, and it's fun to do it, and it's pretty, but it's not as traditional. And
I kind of like,
it doesn't create
I like
memories.
Christmas classic with a twist,
Yes.
where you're using the kind of the same things but in different ways. I don't know, it lends to creativity
I think it does, too.
and things like that. And it also gives you an opportunity to use all of these platters and bowls and
Well,
just interesting
and you'll remember too, we
containers.
talked about this. I don't really like to put things away at Christmas because I have no place to put them, most of all.
Right.
So I tried to make that a minimal effort to take things away. I took a few things away, but I wanted to just be able to use what's here. So like in here, for instance, there were seashells in lots of these dishes. So those came out and the ornaments went in. But,
And where do then the seashells live?
they're
Under your
in-
couch?
They're in the tote that the ornaments are in, and they're back in the basement.
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
that's where a lot of
Well,
them are.
yes. Okay, so there's a couple of things here that I am recognizing, and yes, and Stuart does such a good job because there's so much to see in this room. So don't just focus on what we're looking at, but look all around because there's just there's so much to take in. But I see a friend.
Do you?
I do see. May I touch?
Of course you
I
can.
I know this was probably a really pricey biblo of
Actually,
yours.
it was a gift from you.
Oh, yeah,
Even though
huh?
I found
Do
it.
you recognize
Oh,
this,
yeah.
Stuart? Do you recognize this little princess?
Cha-cha-cha.
Yes. Cha, cha, cha. That we got on our last thrifting adventure. And by the way, we have great thrifting plans for in January.
That'll be
So
fun.
yeah, so that will be
When
fun.
I saw
But
this, I thought this will be kind of like, I don't know that it's a Christmas ornament, but it was like, it looks like it should be
It's
a
the
Christmas
color,
ornament.
right? Yeah.
I don't know, but it spoke to you.
So it spoke to
It
me.
screamed.
So she
John,
came
take
home with
me
you.
Dance for you. Yeah.
Okay, and then there are these wooden trees,
They're
paper, or
Italian
excuse me,
paper.
pressed paper
Pressed paper.
trees that go together. And
Yeah,
I
they're
know
just-
you have different ones. And someone, okay, we're going to mea culpa here, John, because one of
They're
you,
so cool.
you asked a question. You were looking for more of them. Where could you find them? One of our good followers told us, and we thought we would remember, and then we didn't take a screenshot of the answer,
Right.
and now we're back to square one. So
So if it comes up again,
so if
If
it
you're
comes
still
up again,
watching.
if you are still out there watching, we are so sorry that we weren't responsible.
and I saw some this year. I didn't buy them, but they were solid color. But it's this construction, which is really cool.
I
that
think-
they slide apart and go back together. And those were somewhere in Oklahoma City too.
Urbane,
Maybe it was there. Maybe it was there.
I think
can't
maybe
remember.
I saw
Anyway,
some.
it's
I
a great
saw
concept.
some
So
at
someone should do more
Urbane.
of those.
Yeah.
So the friends to that one are up in the rest of the house. So you'll see the others later.
So what I find interesting in here, because now that I've got more blue in my house, and then obviously Christmas brings out red and white, that I thought, ooh, is that going to look kind of too summery, too July-ish with the red, white, and blue? But it really doesn't. I think because all of the porcelain, all of
Well, it
That-
was. If someone asked me the colors in my house, I literally will say, and I laugh and I say this: red, white, and blue. So really, it's cream. It's sort of this
yeah,
rosy or red.
Right.
And then I use lots of different blues, but it doesn't read July 4th or summer.
right.
No, yeah,
I've
not
never
at all.
felt that.
Yeah.
And so I think it works. But I took some pictures of this as we got all this done that have been on my Instagram, and it's surprisingly the blue and white's not popping out in here right now. The red does take over. And of course, I've added a lot of Amare too, which has created some other colors. The rust.
But more of
and
a
blues.
rusty red.
So I think my blue and white sort of gotten toned down a little bit.
I gotta ask because I don't know. Other people probably don't either. Omar.
Amari.
Amari.
Tell me about this.
So Amari, I'm going to get this piece because this is my representative. So Japanese porcelains, and they're often blue and white on the outside, a little color sometimes, but the insides are almost always have rusts and greens and some blues.
Very cool.
I think it goes back to the 17th century, maybe is when it's, and I may be wrong because I'm not an expert on this at all, but in the 70s, Amari became this really hot pattern. So
Yeah.
a lot of people did China, and you'll find some great China from Fitz and Floyd or just
Yes.
Neiman Marcus or store brands, did it. And so
I-
it was very popular. So some of these pieces
Thank you, John.
are that kind of thing, and then this one's kind of fun.
Yeah, I remember working at
our
a gift.
store,
I remember working at a gift shop in the '70s, and
and-
there was lots of Amari.
So, and I never smoked and I wouldn't do this, but this is a cigarette jar.
Oh,
But
wow.
look who it's from.
Okay, you're asking me to be able to.
Okay, let's see.
Oh, Lillian's
Strickler. So this
Oh,
was
it
selling in the
was.
lamp store here in Oklahoma City on 23rd Street.
Oh,
just a
yes.
few
It
blocks
was
from
an
here.
institution.
Yeah, and I'm sure this was from the 70s.
Oh, I'm sure.
She would have had that in there. But I really only bought this because of that label on the bottom because it meant so much to me. But anyway, it's a cool jar. And I like the ones. Some of them are more rusty.
Oh,
but
that like this
like
piece
this
is
one,
really
which
rusty.
is very
Yeah.
nice. And that was a gift to me from a really lovely friend. A family piece of her aunt, I think, brought it from Japan.
That's neat.
But I like the ones, that have green in them. And you can kind of see them here. A lot of them have this really pretty blue-green color. That
Yeah, it's
shows up.
almost like a tea. Yeah.
I think that's nice.
Turned around, I can see it.
Well,
And they're just great designs, and they're all different. And really, they are like Stuart over here, that covered part.
Yeah, we're doing circles.
That's meant to be used at the table. It's tableware, and it would have some kind of soup or something in a bra.
Well, the interesting thing is, and it's a little bit sad, is we refer back to the 70s, like it's way back, but that wasn't that long ago that I'm thinking,
But do you see have you seen these things where people say 2024 to 1970 is the same distance from 1970 to something like 1918?
Yeah.
And it's like it goes the other way really far.
Cut. We're not going to go there because that could really get me out of the Christmas spirit. Well, I tell you what we're going to do. We are going to get out of this room because I want you to show us some other places. But before we go, my question that I asked in a previous video that really resonated a lot with people, in terms of a Christmas motif that you most relate to, a stocking, a Christmas tree, a wreath, or a star. What is the iconic kind of Christmas thing that you really relate to?
Well, it would be the wreath.
The wreath.
If I had done nothing except, or if I'd only done one thing, it would have been these wreaths in the window. And I think that would have said Christmas and it'd been fine.
Yeah. For me, it's definitely, maybe it's because they're more gardeny.
And I think that's part of it too. And it's simple. It can be simple. They can be really complicated. But I like simple ones.
Yeah, and the infinity, the symbolic meaning of it. Stuart afterwards said, "Oh, I would have thought you would have said wreath, or you would have said tree."
Well,
and then after I told him wreath, he doubled back and he said,
absolutely
he
what it
said,
is.
"No, that's of course what
Because
it
you
is."
use those all year round in all sorts of ways.
And a lot of people do that, which I love. Some people always have a wreath on their front door of some sort.
Yeah.
I have a client who I've done several wreaths for. That she just keeps on going.
And sometimes the front door just almost seems incomplete without some
I
kind
really
of
do like
wreath.
just a simple red wreath or simple green wreath with some kind of red ribbon.
Yeah,
on it.
and you've got these
don't
tiny
need bows.
cute ones.
And I saw you start looking to see how that was up there. So we are so lucky.
Yeah.
We have double hung windows.
I know.
So I simply
We were talking
put it
about
on the top, tuck it up in there and close it. So it's great. I don't have to make
that
any
is a
holes or do
luxury.
anything, yeah.
That really is a luxury. Though I guess because you've got blinds also, you could have put just some kind of
and before
little.
we got these windows, like you said, with the tack in
Yeah.
It was more trouble than it was worth. Well, not worth, but just more trouble than it should be.
Okay, let's go. Let's move on. Now, if there's a grand doyenne of Christmas, it would be her.
The angel.
And you described her last year, but describe her again.
Well, it's my understanding, I don't know for a fact, but she came from Tulsa, I do know that. My grandmother had her, and I think she probably came from this really terrific store that used to be there called Miss Jackson's. There was another store also that she could have come from, but I think she's Miss Jackson's. And my grandmother she bought this, and then she made this great big pink felt stocking, which I was an idiot for not taking, but to kind of go with her. So those were the two iconic things always in her formal living room that we never went in, There would be this angel and then this stocking, which she would hang on the back of a chair. So they were kind of cool pieces. But this girl, I think, is just really unique.
And she's got that expression that speaks to, I don't know, maybe different specials. We used to watch it when we were kids at Christmas. Oh, now I have a Christmas treat and Christmas story to share today.
Okay.
So the wonderful contractor that I'm using to do the work at my house, she came by today to check on some things. Let me get out of the way. She came by to check on some things, and she had her daughter with her. And Britt, who has the company, she has gorgeous red hair. Well, she had her little daughter, Olive, who's like a year and a half old, with that same red hair. And she had a little Cindy Lou Who ponytail on her head. and she was so cute, and she was adorable, and
That's great.
I kept trying to,
Yeah.
make her like me, and before they left, her mom put her down,
Uh-huh.
and I kept, kind of making nice to her, and before she left, she walks up to me and she goes like this, and she let me pick her up and give her a hug, and oh my gosh, oh my
That's
gosh.
great. I love that story.
I know. If
Yeah.
little Cindy, is Cindy
Cindy
Lou
Lou, yeah.
Yeah, Cindy Lou
Cindy
Oh my
Lou.
God. Spitting image of her mom with
That's
that
wonderful.
gorgeous red hair. Well, it made
love
my
it.
holiday. If nothing else
Okay.
good
See,
happens,
those are the good things.
it made my holiday.
So
Okay, so you've got some contas.
they're
you
all
told-
stacked up right now. You're gonna find today that there's not one as a tablecloth for the first time in a long
And you've
time.
color coordinated yours.
Well, I won't not by
Kinda.
accident. I mean, those
Yeah.
are just the four that I usually out and they're out.
But
so
I got some,
Uh-huh.
and they are so fun.
they really
And
are.
a lot of our followers got some too, and they're just so many different ways.
I use them all the time for people, so I love them.
Well, Stuart had
In
got
fact, I
one.
use one
that
for
he-
a Christmas tree skirt at White House.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it's-
Stuart has them over. One completely consumes a chair that
Chair.
he's
But I
got.
love what you did to cover the arms of Jamie's chair.
Okay.
That was cool. Very good.
I mean, see,
Very
little
good, very good.
John
I know.
Turman.
Well,
I'm
then
getting
I
that.
was like, I could. Well,
I'm getting it by
I was a client's
osmosis.
accessory who has pets, and 2 chairs need to be recovered. I thought, I bet we could put 2 contas on each chair.
Yeah.
And do one like you did, and then one come down the front.
Yes.
To make this work for a
Yeah.
while.
Well, the
Um,
nice thing is, then when spring comes, all you have to do is reverse them,
Yes,
and you've got a
they're
whole
great.
different.
Yeah.
You've got a whole different.
But all of
look.
mine that I've been using in the dining room in various places got washed and folded and put in the chair. But I couldn't put them away. They're too cool. I love
No,
those
they are
contas,
too cool,
so-
and I love stacks and piles of things that are, and they're all folded the same way.
That
It
was
speaks-
tricky because they're not the same size.
No.
So that took some time to figure it out. how to
Can
do
we
it.
say fastidious? John F. Turman.
Well,
John Fastidious
my retail
Turman.
background has to come in when
Well, that's
you fold
true.
the clipboard.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that
Blame
stuff.
it on
That
that,
was
John.
definitely
Yeah,
that.
blame it on
That's
that.
definitely
Okay, so now
So-
we are in your dining room, which I just adore, and you have the table set.
All right.
Are you going to serve us dinner after we finish
Sure.
eating?
we can do a visit for what Christmas Eve might be. So I think we're gonna have tamales this year on Christmas Eve. So I thought this would be kind of fun to do. It's not very. It's not really having to do with the food. Just thought that would be a pretty table.
No, it's a
to
very
do that
pretty
with.
table.
Um,
Talk to me.
well,
Talk to me
I-
about that. That's not pink spode,
So
but
none
this
of these
is.
go together. Well, there's 2 different of each. But at one point, before I had the bazillion books that I had used the pink and white or the red and white in my office, just in the shelves. And so I just collected pieces of it. So I think I have 3 of these. These are actually Masons, Pink Vista. I have 3 of these, and I have 2 of those, and I have 3 or 4 of those, and I have 2 of these.
Yeah.
So then at some point they all ended up in the cabinet because I needed the bookshelf space, So when I was poking around the other day, I thought, I think it'd be fun just to mix this all up for a casual evening dinner. So that's what's happened.
No, I love it. I love this glassware, and it will be so beautiful when you light those candles
Those
and it
catch that,
reflects
yeah.
off of the little birds and everything. Really, did you compose this yourself?
Well,
That's beautiful.
again, I don't remember last year, somebody had sent us a wreath with a candle stuck in the
Yes.
middle of it, the whole thing. And so I
Yes.
took out all the plastic parts.
Right?
And last year I had used the Nandina berries, and I put all that marble fruit, that I
Oh,
had.
yes.
That was all that. So it's very colorful.
Uh-huh.
So this time I decided just to do the magnolia and keep it all green.
I like the all green.
But that's what started it. So
Yeah.
both ways are a great garden.
Very
theme kind of
subtly
thing, but it's simple.
tasteful.
Yeah.
No, very, very lovely. And then, boy, you've got just bowls of these ornaments everywhere.
Yeah, I went crazy collecting ornaments just at one point. So
You know how I got cured of that? That we had a tragedy in the basement at my older home, and the one tub of Christmas ornaments that got completely
were
destroyed
those.
were all the glass blown
That hurt.
ornaments and things. And I thought, I'm too old to start doing that all over again. And however, one thing that I'm really smitten with that was at Patty's, and I'm thinking, ooh, I really do like these, were those Wallace
Wallace
sleigh
bells.
bells. Oh
See?
my gosh.
And I love that because we used to sell those at the store I worked in. And I never understood why people bought them because I thought, I don't particularly like that stuff on the Christmas tree, but a collection in a bowl made
what-
perfect sense. Or to use them on the table, which would be great too.
No,
But
what the
having
hell?
one or
Just-
two does you no
no,
good. You gotta
no.
have a lot.
And so what did I do? I started looking on eBay and stuff to see,
Can
because
they
if
still make them? Are they
yes, you
so
can
buy
still, yes,
24?
you can still find some.
Okay.
They're about $45 a
Well, they used to
piece.
be
So
like $12.50 or $15, or and they went up to 20.
yeah,
But those were great. I mean, we sold hundreds of them. That were just
and,
great
and they're
things.
beautiful.
They
And
are.
I have to
But you do
say,
have to polish them, so
you do, and hers were all beautifully polished. Though I think she stored them
in something.
in something to keep
But
them.
what I love
looking
about
like
these,
that.
the vintage ornaments, is that they really weren't these colors when they were made. I mean, you can start with, like this, we think is chartreuse. That was green at one point.
Okay, so you gotta show us, yeah.
See, it was green up here, really
And,
more of a
and now
normal
it's
green.
a better color
But
than it
it's
was.
this fabulous color because it faded out somewhere.
Mhm.
So, and really, when I bought these, they weren't very expensive. And I've lost some, but if you lose one, it's fine. 'Cause
Well,
I got
and you
some.
can still find, you can.
Not like you used to could though. I mean, the estate sales and garage sales used to have boxes of these, and people think they're worth something now, so they want $5 a block.
Well, and you can find,
so-
you can find new ones of them, but now the little hangers on them are not always metal. They'll be
No,
like
they're not.
plastic or
It's just-
something, and that kind of just steals some
So,
of
anyway.
the charm. Okay, show us what else you have in here, and then we'll move on to the kitchen. Now, did I give you this
You gave me that
basket?
basket a long time ago.
I thought I did.
Actually, there are two. I have two of them.
And I didn't keep one for myself. How could that have been? How could that have been? That must be more before I got into my blue and
It
white.
was. Actually, you weren't doing blue then.
Really?
You really weren't.
Okay, well, that explains it.
You're right.
That
Totally
explains, yeah.
So, and then, so behind you, Stuart, is the Christmas tree that I put this one together first and had it in the living room. And it just looked sad.
It just
wasn't
looked too
big
small,
enough.
yeah.
It wasn't, the shape of it wasn't great, and it's always good in here, so I brought it back in here. And then I went and bought that other tree, but
Look at how great that captures the light.
not great in the sunlight.
I'm
Now
coming that
see,
way.
And
this,
those-
this is crying out for one of those like red ribbons like we're on
Yeah.
those Wallace bells.
Probably so.
Just because it's so beautiful and sparkly.
And the pokey things in there are Christmas tree toppers that I got for 99 cents a piece at some after Christmas sale at Crate and Barrel or one of those stores. So I bought 5.
Well, and they look perfect
But
in
they
there.
work for that. I mean, I've never used them on a tree topper, but as a tree topper.
They're reminiscent of your bottle bouquets outside,
Yeah,
kind
it
of.
is that kind of thing.
Are our viewers probably seeing these ornaments and having memories? Are these ornaments that would have been around?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
It's neat.
These, they're a
I mean,
lot
and
of
a lot
them.
of the ornaments on my trees are from my family, so they're as old or close to my age even. They're actually not
This is what you were talking about.
certifiably vintage because they're more than 50 years old.
Yeah, okay.
So, and then remember these other balls my grandmother made with the pearls and all that stuff.
Over here, yeah. Show them first. What are they again? What are they?
It's felt on styrofoam, and then they're embellished with pearls and ribbons and all that kind of stuff.
My mom has some pin cushions that she used to
Yeah.
like this.
Okay, so I have to tell you as a little homage to my Uncle Ace. My dad was one of 9 children in Batesville, Indiana, and we just lost his last sibling a couple days ago, my Uncle Ace. He was a brilliant athlete, and he was he 87, 88, 89? But it reminds me of these when I look at these ornaments. These are the kind of ornaments that would have been on my grandma Loretta's tree at their house when we were little. And you just don't know what is going to mean something to you as an adult when you're little.
Right.
And so I try to remember that whenever little kids come to my house, that what can you do to make this memorable so that when they're an adult,
So they'll think, yeah,
it
that's
will
true.
really make an
I don't think you
experience
can predict that, so
significant.
maybe it will, but because even when the things, I mean, I don't know if I remember what I thought was significant when I was a child, but when I became an adult and started doing this, I think back now, I say, oh, that did mean something. Why didn't I keep it or carry on with it, or but how it works.
I think because my mom died when I was so young that I don't have a lot of those memories, and so ones that I do have were very significant to
Right.
me. Yeah, and this is just perfection. And then we weren't here for Thanksgiving.
Actually, you were, but
Yeah.
we forgot. Remember, I was here. Stuart and I were here.
Oh, that's right.
And
I
you,
was.
and you said to me, be sure and show the pilgrim.
Oh,
map."
that's
And I
right.
remembered later.
Oh, we
that
didn't show it.
do it. So we
That's
didn't do
right.
it. Yeah,
That's
what
right.
happened. Anyway,
That's funny.
anyways, again,
And then we've got the 3 wise men here.
which shouldn't be out yet, but they're so cool.
Well, they're wonderful. Okay, let's take a break and then let's go to the kitchen.
So not much going on in here, just reason the windows.
Okay, but so I
What do you see
already,
already?
I already see something I'm going to steal. This is, remember last year there, I told you there was kind of a bird's nest fern theme that
Mhm.
wherever I went, there was a bird's nest fern. I saw you have
I
one.
still have mine, still
And
going.
you still have one.
Yeah.
And now this year I'm seeing these highly polished gallery trays.
Gallery tray, right, gallery tray.
And oh my gosh, look at what you've done. And you've just put your Christmas cards on it. Tip, Stuart, we need to put the big tip icon here because I'm so gonna get mine out
Yeah.
and polish it up. Though honestly, I think they look beautiful,
They're
not
fine,
polished
right,
too.
But they look good polished, I will agree.
But this
Yeah.
looks beautiful, and you've just got your Christmas cards on here.
Just stuff.
What a wonderful
And,
way.
and you know, this is where we open the mail, so it's really easy just to drop them in. You know, we also, I don't want to string them up somewhere to see them that way, but because we're in here, it kind of reminds us that people did send us a Christmas card. We're not just putting it in the entry hall and walking away from it.
Well, and it's
So-
just kind of, you know, I leave some of my design books and my beautiful garden books there, so I'll just flip a page as I'm going through. But yeah,
And then if somebody gives us a gift, and if it has a gift tag on it or something, I'll throw that in there, just so we remember
yeah.
after Christmas that we need
Thank
to
you,
acknowledge
note.
this stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that first one you picked up, that was actually attached to a gift, you know, so it's a good place to keep up with that stuff.
Okay, so I'm stealing this idea, but
Steal
another idea that I was going to steal for you is not here.
And what's that?
You had the king of the domes. You had that gorgeous
Well, it's behind you.
apothecary.
I made those
Oh,
back here.
okay. Filled
With
with
my
nut clusters.
nut clusters, right, which was a good friend of ours. We called it Dan's Candy because he made it for us all the time. And he's no longer with us, so now I make it. So
Okay, how did you get those on there?
carefully.
In there and perfectly, because if you lift off the dome, then you get little scuff marks
Actually,
on the
you'll be
dome.
impressed. I think it lifts without doing it. See? It didn't
Oh,
fall.
because
Wow, it
it's
sits on top of
wide.
Right. And this is, so this dome was, ooh, you can smell it. This smells good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This,
Fits
it's actually
so
a Cloche,
well.
you know that. It's
Yeah.
Cloche.
Yeah.
And so somebody gave me that a long time ago. That's an old Martha Stewart cake plate. You know, there was a set of 3 that she sold early on, so I have those. And then this dome I bought on our thrifting trip. And actually, I think I found it after we stopped filming.
How did you find that?
Yeah.
And I didn't
I knew
snatch
you
it
were
up
gonna ask that.
Well,
first.
remember we went back with Jen to show her those vases that she was going to.
Yes, that's when you found it.
That's when I found it. And
You,
I was like,
you
oh
were
my God, I
holding
gotta
out on
have
me.
this.
Okay,
Because we would've gotten it to
okay,
begin
so
with.
so this is definitely when we go thrifting. You know, the glass probably is now my favorite aisle
Okay.
when I go. So definitely we're
But
gonna be
I want
looking at
another one,
that.
so we got to find another dome for me.
Okay,
And then this is a cake plate that is like a reproduction of something. So none of those pieces go together. That's all just stuff I made up.
and everything looks better and more important when it's elevated and has
And on a doily.
and a ring and a red bulb. But no, this, Stuart, we need to put up another little light bulb tip because doilies, you are the doily.
I
Okay,
have a doily drawer.
okay, that is so wrong and so right on so many different levels.
And I've had
I've
one
done-
forever. So, in fact, I don't even have new doilies. They're old. They're antique.
They're old, and
But-
yeah, you told me once you saw some at Hobby. You
Well,
had
one
some
of
from
my
Hobby
packages,
Lobby.
They were $1
A
for
dollar.
a package of
That-
the big size ones.
that
It was
shows how
$1.
old
I don't
they
even know who sells doilies anymore because I have my own supply. So what can I
Because of
say?
course you do.
And
Because
I-
of
and I,
course you do.
know, twice a year I use a doily, but
But okay, but here is another tip. I
Oh.
bet because for me, if I have this kind of dome and I try to put it over something, then it seems like all of my confections underneath
They
tend to
slide
move around, but the doily kind of holds them
It kinda
in
does.
place.
It does. And I think it just adds a little finished touch to it. So
Oh, it absolutely does. And I just love glass when it's all aggregated together like this, and it's all beautiful and shiny, and it reflects the light.
it reflects the
And
light.
have you seen the movie? It's Complicated.
yes,
Okay, and it's that scene when she walks into her bakery for the first time and turns on the light, and everything in there is a reflective
It's a
surface.
great thing. I love
And I think this is kind of,
does that.
and well, in this, it's kind of indicative of that. And then you have all
Well,
of the classic things we have to revisit every time we come. Your Road Runner, just all
Yep.
of everything. Okay, so one last thing. Did you decorate anything else?
I decorate everywhere in the house. You can go in the bedroom. We can stay
Okay,
on this
okay, in the
one.
bedroom?
So, well, let's take a break. and
Yeah,
we'll do
you've
that.
got a cool bedroom. Let's
Yeah,
let's
let's go
take
there.
a break and we'll be back.
All right.
Okay, come on in, Stuart.
So Linda, I really do like to decorate a little bit in the whole house, and of course we spend most of our time back here because our TV's back here and in our bedroom. So I always have red sheets. I like to get out.
Yeah,
do the leaves in the windows again.
I remember. I'm trying to think everything I kind of remember. Now, have you always had that begonia in the window?
I have.
How did I not notice it last time?
know,
I
'cause
love that plant stand.
Yeah, that was at my grandmother's house too. I love that too. Which is not at all the style you think for this house, but I just love that gilded bamboo. So.
Well, I love
But
anything
that
faux
plant
bamboo.
is, I got that in 1984.
You're kidding.
Somebody gave it to me, and I've had it that long.
Like that plant is from that? Oh,
I've
wow.
split it 3 or 4 times.
It's as old as me.
But it's-
Wow.
So,
It's an heirloom.
and it is truly an heirloom. And you don't see begonias like that in
No.
greenhouses anymore, ever. And every once in a while, somebody will have a piece of it in, like, I can't remember where I saw some greenhouse here in the city. Oh, I think they had it at Precure one time.
Really?
Just a couple of them, and I don't know why they had them or where they. It's really weird, but it is truly a hand-me-down kind of plant.
Well, and it's old fashioned and
and
it's
it's happy back
beautiful.
here in
And
this
it
space.
is happy. Now, I don't, okay, here's the other
So
trees.
the red and the blue one.
The red and the blue one. I do not remember that Santa.
He's been here. He was probably in my office or somewhere before.
Is that needle pointed?
It is.
And is it a doorstop? No, it's
don't
not
think
even
so.
a doorstop. It's just light, but isn't
It's
that
just a decorative
cute?
thing.
I'm coming that way to look at it.
I'm thinking, I used to do quite a bit of needle pointing, and I haven't in years. And I'm thinking about it again in all my free time, yeah.
So how heavy is that?
Oh, it's not at all.
And indestructible, pretty much.
Deborah does tons of ornaments every
Oh,
year
does she?
for
Oh,
all of her family. She did one of the cottage.
Oh, nice.
It's so cute. Oh, speaking of, if you haven't seen it, Stuart did the new intro, the animation of the cottage with Santa coming and landing on
Oh,
that.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's
Okay.
just in the
Okay.
one. Well, it's just
Today's
in
the
today's,
first
and
day.
I haven't
That's
published
it.
it yet. Okay, okay, you haven't seen it. I was gonna just chastise you for not watching,
I've done some homework since we
for
talked.
not
Um,
watching. Well, this is just
So anyway,
it's
just
so
nice,
it's just cozy,
nice
and
cozy and
I also love the way that you don't feel like you need to completely reinvent the wheel, that you leave out what you already have.
I really do try to do
And
that.
you just kind of put an overlay, and increasingly that's what I like to do because I don't have lots of storage space
And-
either.
and I do have too much to store, but anyway, but I don't have a lot of space. But it's really about the time issue. And
Yeah,
I did all of this. I did do it over a couple of days, but it wasn't too many hours to do it.
yeah,
Other than sorting through the Christmas tree ornaments because I had to call them down. So I
right.
had to unwrap and look at all of them. But the
Yeah.
rest of it went up pretty quickly. So I like that now.
Yeah.
I want to keep it that way, so I can keep doing it.
Well, I think opening up, unwrapping your Christmas ornaments is kind of like it's going down memory lane, and it's kind of like looking through old photo albums
It is.
and all the memories that are attached with
is.
each
And I had
one.
to some of them well, I know where that came from and why it was here and what it means to me, but it's not tree worthy anymore, So
Right,
there's still a box of those, which will be here forever, but
yeah,
that's
Yeah.
just what they are now. So
yeah.
anyway.
Well,
Yeah, I've got broken ornaments in a box that I won't ever throw away.
And if it
Just-
breaks, I throw it away. And it used to bother me when they would break, and I broke one this year that was a significant person had given it to me,
oh,
and it fell. And it wasn't going on the tree, which was interesting. I'd already decided that, but it got caught on another one. And I dropped it, and I was like, okay. That
There it
that
goes.
helps me.
Yeah.
You
That
can-
helps
you
you.
can move on.
Well,
So,
yeah, though I have some, that my kids made me, and they'll get squished, or they'll get, whatever, and those are
well, those are
still.
ones I was putting on the back of the tree. But when you do a little tree, you don't have those holes.
Or
anymore,
I want
so-
to do,
yeah.
and one of these days, not that I'm applying any pressure, boys, but one of
Turn
these
this over here.
days, I want a Christmas tree that's just nothing but those kind of ornaments. Just nothing but the handmade and the rough and the,
That'd be fun.
yeah,
That'd be cool.
and then string cranberries and string popcorn. But anyhow, I think you're a perfect example of it doesn't take a lot to really create a really festive season. And what's most important is spending it with good
friends.
friends like you. And we'll be spending
you.
a lot more time together in the new year because we've got some projects.
Okay.
I know, yeah, I'm going to get you over to the
I want to see
cottage.
what's happening
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the building.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I'm really going to have you help me with some projects. I want to to hang some things
Okay.
that you told me to suspend from leather. Anyhow, I'll keep that.
I love
I'll
that.
keep that under wraps. But
Okay.
but give Scott our best.
I will do that.
And
John.
have a merry
Thank
Christmas.
you. You too.
Okay.
Both of you.